Good morning. I'm Julia Bogany. I'm Tongva and a Hachiman. I'm the culture officer for my tribe, and I'm a teacher. I teach at Claremont colleges and all around anywhere in the United States and beyond sometimes. So today we're going to talk about the Tongva. So I want you to know that the Tongva encompass the entire LA basin, which and four Channel Islands, Catalina, San Nicolas, San Clemente, and Santa Barbara. We meet up with the Shumash in Malibu and the Santa Monica Mountains, and then we meet up with the Hachaman in Orange County, starting from Irvine. That's the last part. That's where the last piece of land where we're connected like a hopscotch, and before we get to San Diego. So today I brought with me some abalone shells. I like to share my abalone shells and how we use them. So this is a favorite shell abalone to me. It's a coral side, and you can see there's coral on the inside, and it's totally coral color. And so we would have used this shell to eat soup. So how do you think I could put soup in this shell? See these holes? The soup would fall out, right? So we would use tar from the tar pits of Los Angeles, and around the beaches there's tar like in the mountains. We would use natural tar and cover those holes so that we could eat out of this, because this is our bowl. But let's say you drop this abalone and it breaks right on these little holes where you see the holes, then that becomes our spoon. We don't throw it away. It becomes our spoon, and I'm going to show you the things that we make with it. So first we make our spoon, and we traded with the Alaska natives for abalone buttons, and we make necklaces, but Alaska still today they make on their regalia, on their clothing that they wear for ceremonies and dances, they make buttons, and then they make these beautiful whales out of abalone buttons, and they just put them together and make the shape of a whale. Then sometimes we have abalones that are like in two. You can see they're two-sided. It's actually two abalones to make a necklace. And this is my favorite one. This you can wear in your hair, but it also, the women like to use it. So if you had an itch, you don't want to use your nails, right? Because it's not a good thing to do. So we use the abalone to scratch. So, and it goes in your hair. This is to make another kind of necklace. So there's every little piece. So once an abalone breaks, doesn't mean you just throw it around, right? There were no trash cans. Everything dissolves, or you make it into something else. So I'll show you the colors of my abalone. So this is a tan color one, and they're just really beautiful. From our beach in Hermosa Beach, we got blue abalones. And so this is a blue abalone. And they know that that's the place they came from. So abalone is a kind of a fish inside. There's an animal grows in there. And a lot of people still eat abalone. They say it's very delicious. I haven't tried it yet. And this is a red abalone. And we call this the woman shell. Of course, we use this abalone for eating, but we make a lot of our necklaces, and we use the whole abalone. This is a size that we could use the whole one. And then I have a cappuccino brown, and this one comes from Mexico. So for years, I've been collecting abalones from different parts of the world, and it's so interesting to see what colors. So the reason I know that we have abalones that are blue from Hermosa Beach is because they found an abalone in Yuma, which is way out there in the desert. And and they knew that we traded across the land. So I also have these mussel shells that we use. And have you ever noticed that Indians don't have a beard, right? That's because this is what they had to shave with. They had to pluck them out with these shells. And so I can imagine that's pretty, that would hurt. But one of the, I know one year I was at Hermosa, and one of the students wanted to buy some, wanted to get some of these because she wanted to give them to her father for Christmas. So I think that was her way to tell a joke. So I did something else. I made it dentilium. So see this dentilium at the top? So we use this for money. This very big top one, I put them in a frame because I didn't want them to break, because there's also a little like worm that grows in there. And I used it, and we make necklaces with it. We use it for trading money. They're worth, they're like, you wear a necklace that's 27 inches long with the dentilium on it. And then you trade, and you traded for maybe a rabbit because you didn't catch a rabbit that day and you needed a rabbit so you could eat so we ate a lot of rabbits and squirrels. And in the ocean, of course, we got to eat a lot of fish, and we're really healthy because you had to be healthy to travel across that ocean. And so this is really something I really like to show students. So this big one I put in here because I didn't want to break, but that was $35 just for that one. I've never seen anyone wear it, so I decided not to make a necklace out of it. I just decided to just show the ones I do make necklaces with. And of course, so you might be wondering how we got across that ocean, right? Well, first, right there in Hermosa Beach, we traded salt with San Bernardino, and that's where I live. And this is called a Thule boat. And we travel with this boat only close to the shore or along the salt marshes, and so we could pack the salt, and then we would take it. We didn't go by boat, we just took it to the land, and we went by land to take it to San Bernardino, to the hospitals, many miles. And sometimes we could go just along the marshes, but it was quicker to go by land. Then we started making these are called kiats. This is a boat that is for traveling across the ocean. We did a lot of trade, and we traded for soapstone. It was the biggest trade the Tongva had. We called it Tongva Gold because people used it to, first we used it to heat up because it's a rock, and the rock maintains 200 degrees of heat. And then you put it inside your basket. So I have a little basket here. This is made out of pine needles, but we put the rock in a basket, and then you put your water in it, and it's tightly woven so the water doesn't go out. So you can make your stew. But then we learned how to make pots, and we started making pots out of the soapstone. Takes longer, but it just maintains that heat, so you don't have to have like a fire under it. So then this is a village. This is at Santa Fe Springs, is this village, and this is what our houses look like. And they're called keys, Kiiy, and it's a key, and you see how close it is to the water, because most of our places were always near the water. So to make that house that looks like this, on the mainland, you would use willow and tule reed to cover it. But along the ocean, right, we would use whales, because the whale bones make the make that circle when you put them together. And I think at Alpine Museum they have one that's made out of just the whale bone, just the inner shape so that people can see it. And so that's a lot of what we do with that. So then I have some starfish. So you've seen starfish everywhere, but there's different kinds of starfish. Not only sizes, but see this one? It's kind of like thinner. So starfish are kind of like abalones. Depends what ocean they're coming from, what we find, right? So those are really special. And I'll show you some of my soapstone things. So this is a arrow straightener made out of soapstone because remember it maintains heat. So if I heat this stone up, I could, and I'm out, let's say I'm out hunting or something, I can take a arrow root, and maybe I just take a plant because they really don't have the kind of plant I want, so it's kind of crooked. So if I run it through here, because this stone is hot, it makes the stick stronger, depending, from the plant I get it. We would have used willow, but maybe I'm in a part of the land that doesn't have any willow, so I need that, and that's how I make my arrow. So the other thing I have is a cogstone. So along the beaches we find a lot of cogstones, and so this looks like a gear, right? So this gear is used as a compass. So when you put it on your boat, in your little canoe, you put a stick in the center, and wherever the sun hits, it's telling you which way you're going, because we could get lost going from Catalina to the mainland if you didn't have a compass. So are we traveling by night? I don't think so, right? We're traveling during the daytime when there's sun, because we only travel like to go trade. The island was beautiful. We wanted to stay there. So I know that some of you maybe already read Island of the Blue Dolphin. And Island of the Blue Dolphin, they call the young girl Corina, and we call her Juana Maria because that's the name she was baptized with. And she lived on that island. So Corina, she was my ancestor. That means, if you know what an ancestor is, somebody who was born years and years before, right? Maybe 5th or 8th great grandmother, and she is related to the Tongva. So she lived on the island for like 18 years by herself. And first science said we cannot, that's impossible. But what is it that we do? Have you ever talked to your plants at home? Or to your pets? So can they answer you? They probably do, but we don't understand their language, right? So we talk to our plants to make them feel good because we want them to grow beautiful flowers or just beautiful greenery, and it's somebody to talk to. It's how we socialize. What would happen if she would have been on the island for 18 years and never talked to nobody? She wouldn't have been able to survive that long. But she talked to her creator. There's things that men did, that like building the house. The men build the foundation of the house, but the women build the outside. So if she could not do it, she had to ask permission from the creator to build that house, right? To have a weapon. If she's living on an island by herself, she needs a weapon. There were some wild dogs there that were left behind by the Germans, so by the Russians, and so she needed to have a weapon. So did she have to use it? It doesn't show us anywhere that she did, but she just had to have it. So it might have looked like a cane or just a long spear, but she still was not allowed to do that because she was a woman. So she prayed and asked for permission to do that. It's just like when we take something from a plant. When you go in your garden to take something to eat, you just don't pull it out the garden. You look at it and you thank it for giving its life to give you more life, right? Because we need to eat foods. And so that's how we do it. We say we're thankful. Sometimes we're thankful at the table. That's okay, because maybe you didn't cook the food. Maybe your mom went and got the food, came home and cooked it. So then you honor that. You say, "I'm thank you for giving," and you thank your mom for cooking. And so that's really important to us, to be thankful for everything we have. So I always say we talk about being rich. What does being rich mean to a Tongva? So does being rich mean uh, houses or cars or clothes or all the things that we tend to like, as even as children, bicycles or whatever, more toys and games, video games today? No, being rich to us means we are healthy. We wear, every time we go to a program, a dance, a ceremony, we give each other a necklace, or sometimes the younger people will bring a necklace for all the elders. And all those necklaces you have on represent how much you are loved in your community, how many things you attend, how much work you do, how much knowledge. So when we say the word elder, that we know that that means an older person, right? For us, just being an older person does not make you an elder. To us, like I have a 15-year-old and I have a great granddaughter and I have a 10-year-old great granddaughter. Their knowledge of what they know about the tribe and know about their language makes them an elder, because they can teach somebody older than them because they have the knowledge. That means there's things that you know how to do. You probably know how to operate your telephone or your computer really well, and you have to teach your mom or dad and say, they'll say, "How do you play this game?" You're teaching, so you're an elder. It means you have knowledge. It's not about being old, it's about having knowledge of doing things and how we teach. There was every year we tell the Turtle Brothers story of how California was formed. So the Turtle Brothers were out playing by the ocean, they were sea turtles, and they were playing, and the creator came and talked to his big brother turtle, and he says, "I need you to go gather your brothers and sisters to come get into, and bring a stick with you." And he said, "Okay." So he goes, the big brother turtle goes and gets all the brothers and sisters, and they bring a stick. And if you remember, when you're in kindergarten, usually you either had a rope, so you learn to make a straight line, or a stick that everybody held to stay in line. So he told him, "I want you to get in this line, and we're going to shape the land of California." And they formed a line. But you know what we do as brothers and sisters, even our friends, when we're in line? We start saying, "Oh, move out the way. You're pushing me. You're too close." So the turtles started doing that, and they started shaking. The earth started shaking. And you know why? Because that's where earthquakes come from. When the turtles don't want to hold that line, and as they shape the state of California, they start shaking the land. And so that's how we taught our children not to be scared of earthquakes, because it's something natural. It's because the turtle brothers are playing, or they're not wanting to stay in line, or one's tired and they start moving and the land starts shaking. And that's how California was formed. And do you understand? We didn't have copyrights on our stories. Our stories were always made to teach our children to be safe. So the Rainbow Bridge, so there's a lot of us living on the island of Catalina. And it's getting kind of crowded, you know. if you ever traveled to Catalina, it's not a very big place. So there was some Tongva out there on the island, but it was just getting too crowded, and people were just bumping into each other, right? And so the creator said, "Okay, I hear you crying about not being about being too crowded." So he built this rainbow, and the rainbow went from Catalina to Hermosa Beach. And when he says he gave them instructions, he told the people, you're going to travel and you're going to move to Hermosa Beach. And I do not want you to look down, just go across this rainbow bridge. And so people got on the rainbow bridge and they were happy and they started walking. But you know, the rainbow bridge got pretty high. And some people are always curious. They started looking down. And when they looked down, they fell into the ocean. And they said, "Oh, the people in the ocean, what are we going to do? Because, you know, they can't survive down there." And they said, so the creator, because he loves us so much, turned the people that went down into the ocean into dolphins. And that's why the dolphins talk today, because they were our first Tongva people crossing that ocean. So he's kind of like our mascot, right? So we tend to wear a lot of dolphins because they're close to our hearts. And then the rest of the people got over and stayed in Hermosa Beach, and because they had more room than the island. But a lot of them became dolphins because they were disobedient and looked down and wound up falling into the ocean. So today we're going to be making a soapstone necklace. And so you'll have in your little kit this little piece of soapstone like this. And then you can put the soapstone like on a plate, a little plastic paper plate or a napkin, and you just got to sand the corners. See all these little corners? You just want them to be smooth. Don't want to sand it too much. But when you sand this, when you see the powder, it's actually talcum powder. It's our natural talcum powder. So, so we all like to feel it, and it makes our hands feel soft. And talcum powder is kind of like we use for babies. Sometimes when it's hot, you know, you want to cool down, you don't want to be sweating, you use that talcum powder. But so we're going to sand all the corners. And then in your little kit, you have a string made out of hemp. So you try to keep everything pretty natural. And you're going to fold it in half. You have this little circle here. You're going to put it through the hole, and then you're going to take this over, and then it lays flat this way on your skin. So our skin would have changed the color of the soapstone, because you'll find that they're going to be different colors and in different shades of green or grays, whatever. And it depends where it was in the mine. If the sun's hitting them, if it's in the beginning of the entrance of the mine, it will be kind of grayish because the sun and the water has hit it. But as you get further into the mine, it'll be more golden colors, reds, and things like that. So that's, and you're going to put 3 beads on each side. There's 6 beads in your little packet, and you put 3 beads on each side. That's I know a lot of times we like to fill it up, but we're trying to show the trade. We traded 6 beads for 1 shell. So we try to remember that. And so today, so I'll tell you, usually I ask the question, and it's about how many, so we're going to do the 6 beads for 1 shell, but also what kind of beads did we use? They were glass beads. And did we have that in here in Tongva territory? No, we didn't have no glass beads. So we traded with the Russians, and we traded for cobalt blue. So you don't have blue beads. We're using plastic beads, but we use cobalt blue was traded with the Russians because they had this beautiful cobalt blue, and we hardly see it. Every once in a while, we have some stuff. I have a collection of cobalt blue because I just love the color. But it's a beautiful blue that we don't see a lot of. To who they are. I'm going to give you today a poster for your classrooms. You'll have them in your classroom. It says, "I am on Tongva lands," and you'll see our men on the Tia, and there's a whale on the bottom. So it's all about the ocean, right? Okay, so you
All right.
take care. Have a nice day.
All right. You too. Thank you, Julia. Bye.
Bye bye.